Hey, what's happening, peeps? Today we're going to take a look at what Timmy Shieff has to say live on television in front of thousands of people. I mean, I don't know why we give television so much credit. YouTube, man, you get just as many views as you do on TV if your channel is big enough. So regardless, Tim says some pretty interesting stuff here on TV. We're going to take a look at that, as well as I'm going to give you my food pyramid, if you will. Food pyramid meaning like top 5 food groups I recommend eating, middle 5 food groups I'd recommend, and then like the lower 5 food groups that you might want to avoid eating if you can get your hands on these top and middle food groups. All right, got a phone call coming in there. Cancel that. All right, so let's get into this. What does Timmy say here on live television?
Yeah. No, it's not nice at all. I mean, everybody has a choice to do what they want to do.
Animals are dying and they're upset with that. And so, you know, they've...
Timmy says we're upset with the animals dying. We are not upset with the animals dying, Tim. We're upset with the murder victims. We're upset with you participating in the murder of these animals. If I'm chilling here on my couch, I'm on day 49 of a water fast, I'm dying. Okay, that's very different than someone walking in my door and shooting me. If someone walks in my door and shoots me, people don't say, oh, Ted died. They say Ted was murdered. All right, so when I see a deer in the forest and I see it just laying there dying, that's very different than me going up to it and shooting it and eating it. All right, one is murder, the other is just natural decay, natural death. So we're not upset that animals are dying. Nobody said we're upset with the animals dying. We're saying we're upset with the murder victims. It's very, very different. People going out and killing animals versus animals just dying naturally on their own accord. All right, so he said that live on television. I just thought I'd address that here because we're not, man. Why would you spread that kind of info? Why would you spread that kind of lie out there saying that we're upset that you're eating animals that have died? We're upset that you're eating animals that you paid to have killed. That's what we're upset about. But love you as a homie. I just think you're out there right now, dude. You're out there. And you don't have my support when it comes to hurting animals. You have my support when it comes to being healthy. And here I'm going to give you a list of the foods I'd recommend consuming if you want to be healthy when it comes to diet. Granted, there's so many other ways of being healthy in life. Diet is one spoke of the wheel when it comes to health. If you want to be healthy, you need to keep the whole picture in mind. Diet is one spoke. And it's so sad for me to see these people get so desperate with their health that they're willing to turn their back, not only turn their back on the animals, but to pull the trigger and kill the animals themselves. That's just like, it's really sad to see people get that desperate. So hopefully I can shed some light on the top foods to eat, as well as just remind you that, like I said, health is a holistic picture. You got to make sure you're getting plenty of sleep consistently, well rested. You got to make sure that you're getting enough fitness consistently and you're doing proper fitness that your body enjoys, that you enjoy. You got to make sure that you're hanging out with the right kind of people who are instilling positive messages in you. Got to make sure you're getting enough sunlight. Got to make sure you're getting enough fresh air. Got to make sure you're thinking enough beautiful, positive thoughts as well. Health is a state of mind. Believe me, health is a state of mind. I'm in it right now. I've been in it for the past 10 years. If my health ever goes awry, it's because my state of mind is out of whack, man. I'm thinking negative thoughts, or I'm thinking unhealthy thoughts, or I'm just really stressed out. I haven't calmed myself down enough. So understand that. Health is a state of mind. There are so many awesome things we can do to be healthy. Eating food is just one spoke of the wheel. So let's get into these top foods groups that I'd recommend eating, all right? So top 5 food groups that I'd recommend eating. These are the ones that ideally I go for day after day after day after day after day. These are the ones that have made up the majority, 99.9% of my calories over the past 10 years. Check it out. Fruit, fresh fruit. Fresh fruit. Fresh is best. I'm talking any kind of fruit I can get my hands on that's fresh. Apples, peaches, plums, nectarines, cherries, papayas, bananas, durian, jackfruit, you name it. Anything that's fresh and delicious, that's my top pick. That should be the top pick. Cherimoys, anything from Miami Fruit. Check out link in the description if you want top quality fruit from Miami Fruit delivered right to your door. That's the best, man, fresh fruit. All right, if I can't get fresh fruit, I'll go for some dried fruit and I'll soak it, I'll rehydrate it, and then I'll make a smoothie out of dried fruit. Dried fruit is definitely up there as well. And then frozen fruit, you know, frozen berries, frozen bananas, things like that. Throw it in a smoothie, blend it up. Just don't add too much water to the smoothie. It can hamper digestion. The less water you add to your smoothie, the better it's going to digest. Learn that tip from Don Bennett. Second on the list from the top, so number 1 is fruit. Second would be fruit juice or coconut water with pulp, ideally. So things like orange juice or watermelon juice or pineapple juice. Pineapple juice is so good. Watermelon juice is so good. Orange juice is so damn good. Coconut water. Coconut water is so damn good. Again, fresh is best. So as soon as it's juiced, drink it up right away. Next on the list would be baby greens. I go through phases with greens. Sometimes I have a lot, sometimes I'm not having any. I'm in a phase right now where I'm not having any. Greens like baby spinach and baby lettuce. Make sure it's organic. Always go for organic fruits and vegetables, man. This is a big, big cause of ill health for a lot of people who are consuming a lot of produce. They're not consuming organic fruits and vegetables. You've got to be consuming organic fruits and vegetables. If it's not organic, at least make sure it's spray-free. If you don't know if it's spray-free or if it's organic or what, then make sure if the food is not organic, make sure it's not on the dirty dozen, all right? Don't be consuming conventionally grown apples or peaches or lettuce or grapes. Like those stuff are really, really pesticide ridden. Even raisins, make sure those are definitely organic. Go on Google or link in the description for clean 15 and dirty dozen. Avoid the dirty dozen, focus on the clean 15 if you're not eating organic. But yeah, baby greens is a top food category that I recommend people eat for sure if they're interested in getting alkalized and getting minerals from those greens. I'd also recommend next food group down would be non-sweet fruits like cucumbers, tomatoes, zucchini, things like that. Lots of zucchinis. I eat a tremendous amount of tomatoes when I can get my hands on good ones. Next up would be veggie juice, like celery juice. Celery juice is super trendy right now. I love celery juice myself. If you don't love celery juice, it's probably because you're juicing celery that doesn't taste very good. Celery juice tastes amazing to me. Any sort of veggie juice though, like you mix up some carrots in there, mix up some kale in there, throw some lemon in there, throw a little bit of apple in there, whatever, make a green juice if you will. But veggie juice is definitely a top category for me. When I drink that, I feel amazing. An honorable mention for these top 5 food groups, those are like the top 5 that I recommend everyone eat every day. Honorable mention would be things like hemp seeds, medicinal mushrooms like chaga, reishi, lion's mane, and then some seaweeds like dulse or nori or kelp or something like that. If you're into those seaweeds, if you're into medicinal mushrooms, if you're into hemp seeds, definitely a good bet there. Personally, I don't consume flax seeds just because I'm like afraid of flax seeds, because my dad didn't have any hair on his chest or back until he was about 40 when my mom started feeding him flax cereal. She was like, Johnny, you got to get more fiber in your diet. So he started eating flax cereal and he boom, puffed out chest on his hair and back. And I don't have any chest on my hair and back. And I'm afraid if I eat flax seeds, I'm going to get it. So don't eat that. But I love hemp seeds. Those are great. So those are the top 5. Right? We got the fruit, we got the fruit juice and coconut water, we got the baby greens, we get the non-sweet fruits, we get the veggie juice, and then honorable mentions, the hemp seeds, medicinal mushrooms, and seaweeds. Next up, so if you can't get those, no worries. If you're in a cold climate and you don't want to eat those, no worries. The next 5 are going to get you by as well. And again, these are just suggestions. Within each of these suggestions, there's so many different types of foods. So many different types of foods. Right? How many fruits are there? How many different fruit juices are there? How many different types of greens are there? How many non-sweet fruits are there? There's so many. There's hundreds. I just listed a few here for examples. What can you put in your veggie juice? Thousands of different ingredients, man. Thousands, depending where you're living. When it comes to the next 5, there's like the middle pack. The middle pack, I don't think you're going to feel as good on compared to the top 5. But with this middle pack, you'll at least feel solid. You'll at least feel full. You'll at least feel satisfied. You'll at least feel like you're getting in a ton of variety. And you'll at least be able to go out and pretty much eat wherever with whoever as well. So next 5 would be in somewhat order. All right, the next 5 are ranked in order of like best to worst. But they're all 5. These top 5, these middle 5 are all pretty much the same kind of vibe. Number 1 is cooked fruit that you can eat raw. So like tomatoes, like tomato sauce. Apples, like applesauce. Plantains, cooked plantains. Cooked bananas, right? Fruit that you can actually eat raw. Cooked pineapples, like you have pizza and there's cooked pineapple in there. I love those cooked pineapples. Or like you might find fruit that's like in a can or tin or something. I don't recommend eating canned fruit and tinned fruit because it leaches out. But those fruits, like even like baby food, right? Go buy some baby fruit. It's just pure apricot mash. It's just pasteurized apricots or pureed, plantain or something. Those are awesome baby foods. So those would be top pick for sure in there. And then next on the list would be cooked fruit that you cannot eat raw, like squashes, pumpkins. So many different types of squashes out there. Spaghetti squash, pumpkin squash, butternut squash, regular zucchini squash. There's just so many different squashes. Those are your next best bet down from the cooked fruit that you can eat raw. Next on third on the middle pack, top 5, would be cooked veggies that you can eat raw. So things like cooked broccoli, cooked cauliflower, cooked carrots. These things are a good bet, pretty easy to digest. Nowhere near as good as that top 5 for sure. Nowhere even near, I think, as good as the cooked fruits, but they're still They're still good. They don't have that many calories though, so keep that in mind. People say that Ted, you can eat yams raw and sweet potatoes raw. You don't. You never do that. You could, but they're nasty. They're not like, oh, this is really yummy. Carrots can be pretty yummy. Cauliflower can be pretty yummy. Broccoli can be pretty yummy. They don't digest well at all. That's why I recommend cooking them. But you'd never eat a yam raw and be like, this is yummy yam. You might be able to juice a little bit and drink a little bit and think, oh, it's pretty sweet. But nobody goes on yam juice cleanses. You can go on carrot juice cleanses, but not yam juice. It's just not, it's not very nice. So the next category down is the cooked veggies that you cannot eat raw. So this is where the yams and sweet potatoes come in, all right? This is where all those roots and tubers come in. There's a bunch of other ones too, like taro root as well. People are making that in Hawaii heaps. So that's the next category, the cooked veggies that you cannot eat raw. Cook those up. And then next on the list, so this rounds off the top 5 here, is the pseudo grains. So things like the quinoa, amaranth, buckwheat, millet. There's probably a whole bunch more out there. Maybe couscous. All right, these things people call grains. They're not actually grains. They're actually seeds. Those would round off the top 5. Those are going to be much better for you than things like rice and potatoes and beans, which we'll get to in a sec. So pseudo grains. And I think to make those, you just throw them in a pot of water, boil them up, done. Add some salt or whatever. Add fruit in there. Add a bunch of pineapple. Add bananas. Add tomatoes in there. Mix it up, and you have yourself a little quinoa bowl, whatever. So that's that. Super, super simple, and a lot of variety there. Tons of variety. No animals harmed in the making of these meals. Honorable mention in this middle pack, top 5 category would be things like oats. I don't think oats are like tremendous amount of nutrients in oats, but probably a lot better off still eating oats like porridge than you would be eating things that I'm about to list right now in this next category of the bottom 5. All right, so bottom 5. These aren't foods that you should avoid at all costs, but these are foods that you're probably going to have some serious side effects and symptoms from. Right? That middle pack, the only sort of side effect symptom you're going to have from eating those foods is like feeling sedated. You're going to feel a bit like energy drop. But you're not going to have the type of issues that you're probably going to have eating these bottom 5. And again, these bottom 5 are not to be avoided at all costs. They're just to, I want you to understand that these bottom 5 are the foods that you should go for only if you can't get the middle pack or the top pack, all right? So bottom 5 foods include things like lentils. People say lentils are a fantastic source of protein. Yeah, but they're going to make you super bloated, man. Everyone gets bloated on lentils. Next, it would be like things like beans. And again, beans, everyone gets super gassy on beans unless, I mean, some people take Beano, some people take enzymes when they eat beans and it cuts the gas. Some people like soak them and they double cook them and things like this. They do a lot of cardio beforehand or whatever. But for the most part, no one's doing that. For the most part, people are buying a can of beans, they're going to the store, they're just quickly cooking them up and they're just eating them right there. Like, so yeah, beans is one of the bottom 5 as well. And then you got rice, white rice especially. There's hardly any nutrition in white rice. It's like a welfare food. Same with potatoes. You know, potatoes is on this list as well. Number 4, you're better off having yams or sweet potatoes than just regular potatoes. And all these foods still, you want to make sure they're organic, man. If you're eating lentils and they're not organic, they're sprayed to the gills with glyphosate. Glyphosate is deadly for you. Do not, whatever you do, consume conventionally grown lentils, man. They hella sprayed with glyphosate. One of the top crops sprayed with glyphosate. So yeah, potatoes are on this bottom 5 as well. And then number 5 would be tofu and tempeh and things like that, like soy products. Like those stuff, man, those cause troubles with digestion big time. Honorable mention for this bottom 5 group is nuts. All right, so things like cashews and pecans and Brazil nuts, almonds even. Almonds, man, they got to be organic as well. If you're going to consume almonds, make sure they're organic. They're also a top glyphosate sprayed crop. Little tip here, if you do want to consume nuts, if you do want the protein from nuts or whatever, or the fats from nuts, you think they're important, or the selenium from a Brazil nut, which my Hawaii fam used to call Brazil pills. You take one Brazil nut every day and you eat that and you're getting your selenium for the day, which is pretty cool. You can get away with digesting a nut for sure, but not a handful of nuts, man. Not a few handful of nuts. You're going to have some digestive disturbances there. The best thing to do with nuts is to soak them and then blend them and then run them through a nut milk bag. So you make your own nut milk. Drinking nut juice or nut milk, whatever, nut water, is going to digest so much better for you. You're going to be getting all the things you need from the nuts without the hard to break down fiber, without the impossible to break down fiber. Nut fiber is not hard to break down. Nut fiber is impossible to break down. Same with a lot of those veggies I listed, things like raw cauliflower and raw broccoli and raw carrots. Like that's why when you eat those foods raw, and you take a poo and you look, they're in there. You can't break them down. That's why I recommend cooking them or make them part of your top 5 and juice them and drink veggie juice like that. It's going to digest a whole heck of a lot better. So I hope this was helpful. Gave you a few ideas of what foods to eat, what foods to focus on, what foods to look out for. But really what it comes down to is that top 5 group is going to make you feel your best. And all the people experiencing major issues on a vegan diet long term, I don't think they're focusing on that top 5 group. I don't think they're basing the majority of their calories consistently from fruit, fresh fruit, from Miami fruit. I think they're eating a lot of maybe the middle pack and the bottom pack. And if they are having some of the top pack, they're not having like consistently top pack foods at the exclusion of all the others. They're having the top 5 pack foods in addition to all the others. And there's a big difference between eating like the best foods at the exclusion of the worst foods and eating the top 5 foods in addition to all the other foods. Like big difference in how you feel and everything. It's kind of like, I'll show you an extreme example. Like if you were to eat apples for an entire day, raw apples, you're gonna feel great. But if you eat raw apples for an entire day, in addition to eating a McDonald's hamburger, you kind of just annihilated the benefits of eating all those apples. So that's just one example, but you know what I mean? It's best to do awesome things at the exclusion of not awesome things, as opposed to doing awesome things in addition to non-awesome things. But good, better, best, man. It's up to you what you want to do with your life. I'm just here to help. Guide you, steer you in the right direction, and remind you that it's possible to be a glowing, healthy vegan. All right, check out glowhealthsummit.com. Link is in the description. If you want to hang out with myself and 14 other amazing teachers throughout the month of May, we're going to teach you more about things like this, how to thrive long-term as a happy, healthy vegan. All right, peace out, much love, adios. I'll see you May 1st at the Glow Health Summit. Peace out to Marilyn Monroe. Ciao.